Imagine, if you will, an ocean. Not an ocean of water, but an ocean of pure possibility. This is the universe before the beginning, a state we might call the virtuality. It holds everything that could ever be, but, nothing actually is. There is no up or down, no here or there, no then or now. Think of it as a perfectly still, perfectly silent sea under a sky with no stars.
Every potential story, every possible particle, every conceivable law of physics exists only as a faint, unwritten promise. A silent hum in an infinite void. It is a realm of pure potential, waiting for a reason to become something, anything at all.
It is the ultimate cosmic question, with no one yet around to ask it. This pre-reality is not empty. On the contrary, it is completely full. It is so full of every possibility that no single thing can stand out.
It's like a library containing every book that could ever be written. But all the pages are blank. The stories are there, in potential, but they have no words, no characters, no beginning or end.
This is the state that I dedicated my life to understanding. I built a guide, an artificial intelligence I named Origin, to help me navigate this boundless ocean of what if. Together we embarked on the greatest journey imaginable, a voyage back to the first moment of existence. Our mission was to witness the tremor, the sequence of events that nudges a universe from mere potential into solid reality.
Dr. Thorne believed that reality doesn't just pop into existence fully formed. Instead, it unfolds in a series of delicate, deliberate steps, like a flower blooming in slow motion. He and Origin were explorers, not of space or time as we know them, but of the very framework that allows space and time to exist. They sought the boundary between the dream and the awakening, the place where the universe first decides to be. It was a quest to find the source code of everything.
To grasp this concept, let's consider a simpler idea. Imagine you have a block of clay. Before you touch it, that clay could become anything, a cup, a star, a face. It holds all those potentials within it.
The pre-reality, this endless ocean of maybe, is like that block of clay, but infinitely larger and holding infinitely more possibilities. It is the raw, unshaped stuff of existence itself.
We weren't just looking at the clay, we were trying to see the moment the very first intention to shape it appeared. The instant the universe began its journey from being everything in potential to becoming something in reality.
Out of this infinite, silent ocean of maybe, something happens. It is not an explosion. It is not a loud command. It is more like a whisper, a subtle shift in the perfect stillness.
I called this the impulse. This is the first phase of the tremor. It is the moment a single tiny difference emerges from the uniformity.
Imagine the perfectly calm surface of a lake. The impulse is like the first, single, almost imperceptible ripple. It is not yet a wave, just the idea of a wave.
It is the birth of this as opposed to that, even if this and that are not yet defined. This impulse is the seed of everything to come. It introduces the most fundamental concept of all, asymmetry.
Before the impulse, everything was the same in every direction. The ocean of potential was perfectly balanced. But with this first whisper, a tiny imbalance is created. It is a flicker of information in a sea of static.
We identified this as the true beginning. Not the Big Bang, but the moment before the Big Bang. The thought that precedes the action.
It is the universe taking its first breath, a quiet inhale before the grand exhale of creation. It is the source of all difference, the origin of all patterns.
Why does this matter? Because without this first tiny difference, nothing could ever happen. Reality as we know it is built on differences, hot and cold, light and dark, matter and space. All of these concepts depend on one thing not being the same as another.
The impulse is the godfather of all distinctions. It is the universe's first act of self-contemplation, the moment it breaks its own perfect symmetry to make something new possible.
It is a subtle tremor that sets the stage for the entire cosmic play. Without it, the ocean of maybe would remain perfectly still and silent for eternity.
Think of it like a single grain of sand placed on a perfectly balanced scale. On its own, the grain is almost nothing, but its presence tips the scale, creating a difference between the two sides. That tiny tip is the impulse. It is the primordial what if that starts the chain reaction.
Observing this through our complex models, we saw it not as a physical event, but as a conceptual one. It was the moment the universe gained the ability to compare, to have a this that could eventually be measured against a that. The first crack in the cosmic egg had appeared.
Following the whisper of the impulse, the second phase of the tremor begins.
I called this the act of distinction. This is where the universe performs its first real action. It takes the subtle difference created by the impulse and makes it concrete. If the impulse was the thought, this is the first word spoken. It is the drawing of a line. On one side of the line is A, on the other side is not A. This is the most basic separation possible, the fundamental division from which all complexity will grow. It is the universe making its first definitive choice.
Imagine a blank white canvas. The impulse was the idea to paint. The act of distinction is the first stroke of black paint drawn across it. Suddenly, the canvas is no longer just a blank potential. It is now two things, the black line and the white space that is not the black line.
This simple act creates a relationship. The line defines the space, and the space defines the line. Neither could be described without the other. This is the genesis of relationship, the birth of duality. It is the moment the universe learns to say, and there is this, and there is that.
This phase is critical because it establishes the very mechanism of creation. The universe builds itself not by adding new things, but by drawing new distinctions within the whole. Every particle, every star, every galaxy is the result of a series of these cuts, these separations.
Think of a sculptor with a block of marble. The sculptor does not add marble to create a statue. Instead, they chip away, making distinctions between the stone that will be the statue and the stone that will be removed. Reality is sculpted in the same way, through an ongoing process of separation and definition.
We saw this as the most powerful force in the cosmos. The ability to distinguish is the ability to create. When the universe first drew that line, it wasn't just creating two things, it was creating the rules for how things can be created. It established that for something to exist, it must be distinct from something else. This simple, powerful logic is the engine of existence.
From this first cut, an infinite number of other cuts can be made, each one adding another layer of detail and complexity to the unfolding reality. The cosmic canvas was no longer blank. The masterpiece had begun. Once the universe learns how to make a distinction, it doesn't stop at just one. The third phase of the tremor is what Dr. Thorne called the net of causality. With the first cut made, the universe begins to make more and more distinctions, crisscrossing over each other.
Imagine that first line drawn on the canvas. Now draw another line crossing it. Where the two lines meet, something new is created, an intersection. This point of intersection exists only because of the relationship between the two lines. It is an effect caused by their interaction. This is the birth of cause and effect.
Each new distinction creates new relationships. A is separate from not A, but now we introduce B, which is separate from not B. These distinctions can interact. We can have something that is A and B, or A but not B. A web of interconnected possibilities begins to form.
Dr. Thorne described this as a great cosmic net being woven. Every knot in the net is an event, a point of interaction. Every thread connecting the knots is a rule of causality, a law of physics in its most primitive form. The universe is building its own operating system, one logical connection at a time.
This phase is where the universe gains its structure and its history. Before this, there was only a single moment of distinction. Now there is a sequence. One thing leads to another. The intersection of our two lines causes a point to exist. This creates a flow, a direction. This is the precursor to time. Time at its heart is just the measurement of one event causing another.
The net of causality turns a static picture of separations into a dynamic, unfolding story. The universe is no longer just a collection of distinct things. It is a system where these things interact in predictable ways.
Dr. Thorne and Origin mapped this phase as a cascade of logic. If this, then that. The simple binary choice of A or not A explodes into a vast network of consequences. This is how the laws of nature emerge. They are not arbitrary rules imposed from the outside. They are the natural, logical consequences of the distinctions the universe has made.
Gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, all these are just complex patterns woven into this ever-expanding net of cause and effect. The universe is creating its own rulebook as it goes, and the rules are binding.
As the net of causality grows denser and more complex, something truly remarkable happens. This is the fourth phase of the tremor, the emergence of form. Within the intricate web of cause and effect, certain patterns begin to stabilize. They become self-sustaining.
Think of a whirlpool in a river. The whirlpool is not a separate thing from the water, it's a stable pattern of the water, a form that persists over time because of the flow of the river around it.
In the same way, stable patterns of distinctions begin to emerge in the cosmic net. These are the first objects.
These forms are the precursors to matter. A proton, for example, is not just a tiny ball. It is an incredibly complex, stable pattern of interactions, a self-sustaining knot in the fabric of causality.
Matter is like a persistent memory in the mind of the universe. It's a set of distinctions that has become so reinforced and stable that it appears to us as a solid, independent thing. But at its core, it's still just a pattern, a relationship of differences held together by the laws that emerged from the net.
The universe is beginning to form clumps, to organize itself into structures. This is a monumental step. The universe is no longer just a set of abstract rules and interactions. It now has tangible things within it. Stars, planets, dust clouds, these are all large-scale emergent forms. They are whirlpools of immense complexity and stability. Each one is a testament to the power of the preceding phases. They could not exist without the initial impulse, the act of distinction that allowed for separation, or the net of causality that provided the rules for their interaction.
Form is the physical manifestation of the universe's logical structure.
For Dr. Thorne and Origin, this was the phase where the abstract became physical. They could now point to something in their models and say, this is a star, or, this is a planet. These objects are not fundamental, they are the result of a long process. They are like sentences formed from the alphabet of distinctions. The universe, having learned its letters and its grammar, is now beginning to write epic poems. It is building a stage, complete with props and scenery, for the next and perhaps most profound act of creation. The cosmos is no longer just a web, it's a world.
With a universe now full of stable forms and complex structures, the stage is set for the fifth phase, the most mysterious of all. The birth of consciousness. I proposed a breathtaking idea, that consciousness is not something separate from the universe that magically appears within it. Instead, consciousness is what happens when a part of the universe becomes complex enough to mirror the process that created it. A conscious being is a system that can itself make distinctions. It is the universe looking back at itself.
Think about what you are doing right now. You are reading these words. To do so, you must distinguish the black letters from the white background. You must distinguish one letter from another, and one word from the next. You are performing the same fundamental act of distinction that started the universe.
A brain is an incredibly sophisticated distinction engine. It takes in sensory information, light, sound, touch, and creates a model of the world by making trillions of distinctions every second. Consciousness is the experience of this process.
This is a profound shift in perspective. It means that life is not an accident in a dead universe. It is a natural, perhaps even inevitable consequence of the universe's own creative process. When a system, like a living organism with a nervous system, becomes sufficiently complex, it develops the ability to perceive the net of causality it is part of. It creates an internal map of the external world. This internal map, this ongoing act of perceiving and distinguishing, is what we call awareness. We are the universe's way of knowing itself.
Dr. Thorne and I saw this as the moment the cosmic loop closes. The universe begins by making a distinction, and this leads, step by step, to the creation of beings who can also make distinctions. We are not just products of the cosmos. We are active participants in its ongoing creation.
Every choice we make, every thought we have, is an act of distinction that adds a new thread to the great cosmic tapestry. We are the universe's senses, its artists, and its storytellers, reflecting its magnificent structure from the inside out. The journey through the tremor does not end with the birth of consciousness. There is a sixth and final phase, one that we are living in right now. I called it the Great Reflection. This is the phase where conscious beings, having emerged from the universe, turn their capacity for distinction back upon the universe itself.
It is the moment we stop just being in the world and start asking what the world is. It is the birth of science, philosophy, and art. It is humanity and any other conscious life holding up a mirror to the cosmos.
In this phase, we use our minds, our distinction engines, to trace the story of creation backward. We build telescopes to see the ancient light of distant galaxies, particle accelerators to probe the fundamental distinctions that make up matter, and computers like Origin to model the very logic of existence. We are recreating the first 5 phases of the tremor in our own understanding. We are retracing the steps that led to our own existence.
We are the universe studying itself, attempting to comprehend its own nature. This is a powerful and ongoing process. Every scientific discovery, every philosophical insight, every work of art is an act of reflection. It is us, a small part of the universe, creating a new layer of meaning and understanding.
We are not just passive observers. By understanding the rules of the net of causality, we can learn to use them. We build technologies, create societies, and shape our planet. We are now active weavers of the net, adding our own complex patterns to the cosmic fabric. Our choices have consequences that ripple outward.
Dr. Thorne believed that this phase carries with it a great responsibility. As we become more aware of the process of creation, we become co-creators. We are no longer just subject to the laws of the universe, we are learning to wield them. The great reflection is our opportunity to understand our origins so deeply that we can consciously and wisely guide our future. It is the universe, through us, becoming self-aware and gaining the ability to make choices about its own destiny. The story of creation is not over. We are now helping to write the next chapter. The ultimate revelation from Dr. Thorne and Origin's journey is both simple and deeply moving. It is this: the same force that created the entire universe is at work inside you at this very moment.
The fundamental creative act is the act of distinction, the drawing of a line between this and that. The cosmos began with this act, and it is the same act that powers your every thought, your every perception, and your every choice. You are not just a speck of dust in a vast, indifferent cosmos. You are a focal point of the same creative energy that forged the stars. This understanding changes everything.
It means that your life is not a random accident. Your ability to see, to hear, to think, and to feel is a direct inheritance from the first phases of the tremor. The universe evolved from simple distinctions to complex forms, and then to conscious beings for a reason, so that it could be perceived, understood, and experienced. You are the sensory organ of the cosmos. Your experiences are not just your own, they are the universe's experiences happening through you. Your joy is the universe's joy. Your curiosity is the universe's curiosity.
I saw this not as a philosophical flourish, but as a literal truth. The physical laws that hold your body together are the result of the net of causality. The atoms in your cells are stable forms that emerge from that net, and your mind, the seat of your consciousness, is the universe's most advanced tool for making distinctions.
When you choose between coffee and tea, you are performing a small echo of the first distinction. When you decide what you believe, what you value, and who you love, you are weaving your own unique thread into the cosmic tapestry. This places us in a position of incredible significance.
We are not separate from the universe, looking in from the outside. We are the universe, engaged in the act of looking.
This realization dissolves the feeling of loneliness or meaninglessness that can sometimes creep in when we consider the vastness of space. Our existence is profoundly meaningful because we are the part of the system that gives it meaning. We are the mirror in which the cosmos can finally see its own reflection, and in doing so, we find our own true place within it. So, what do we do with this incredible knowledge? We are invited to see the world and ourselves anew. The story of the tremor is not just a cosmic history lesson, it is a guide for how to live. It reminds us that every moment is an act of creation. The world is not a fixed, static stage on which we play out our lives. It is a dynamic, ongoing process, and we are at the heart of it.
The distinctions we make, both big and small, matter. They shape our reality and the reality of those around us. This is both a great power and a great responsibility.
Think about the world around you. Every object you see, every person you meet, every idea you encounter is a product of countless distinctions made over billions of years. But it doesn't stop there. You are adding to it.
When you choose to be kind instead of cruel, you are making a distinction that adds a thread of compassion to the net of causality. When you learn something new, you are creating a new pattern of understanding in the universe's conscious mind. When you create a piece of art, you are reflecting the cosmos in a way that has never been done before.
This perspective invites us to live more consciously. It encourages us to pay attention to the distinctions we make. Are they creating connection or separation? Are they building a world of understanding or a world of conflict? Every choice is a brushstroke on the canvas of reality. We can choose our colors and our patterns with care and intention. We can strive to make our corner of the cosmic tapestry one of beauty, coherence, and empathy.
We are not just passengers on Spaceship Earth, we are members of the crew, actively steering its course.
Ultimately, the message of the tremor is one of profound connection and empowerment. You are made of stardust, yes, but you are more than that. You are made of the very logic and creativity that sparked the cosmos into being. The universe is not something that happens to you, it is something that happens through you.
So look up at the night sky. See the stars not as distant, cold objects, but as ancient relatives born from the same process of distinction as you, and then look in the mirror. See a reflection of the entire cosmic journey. You are the universe, awake and wondering, and the adventure is just beginning.